everybody, and welcome to another whoa ho ho mess edition of Movie Time with Crash. And recently I went and saw a very brutal film, if you will. It was quite a bit of gratuitous carnage. In fact, you could say season's beatings came a bit early. Uh. In fact, you could say instead of a very joyous night and calm night, it was a very violent night. And boy, was it fun! I really enjoyed this one. Also, you can tell I've been recording a lot of these because well, this fell off, so now I have a snowball to throw at the camera. So, turn lemons into lemonade, I would say. So, what did I think of Violent Night? Well, for starters, I knew going in that this film already sold me on its premise because from what a couple friends and some people have told me, it's basically Home Alone meets Predator, but with Santa Claus. That's what a couple people told me. Their words, not mine. And I was like, I'm sold. I'm sold on brutality Santa beating people's ass. And boy, was it great. Um, and all I gotta say is, I knew going in it was gonna be a turn your brain off, mindless, festive, holiday nonsense action movie. And I knew this going in. And I was like, okay, I'll be fine. I'm not expecting a real, tremendous plot out of this. I'm in for the carnage. You're in for the carnage. How is the carnage? Well, I gotta say, the carnage is interesting. It's fun. It's brutal. It's violent. It's good. Um, Basically, the plot is that essentially, there are two parents and their kid. They want to go to their mom's house for the holidays, like they do every Christmas. And every Christmas, all the kids try and suck up to the rich mom because she has all the cash moolah, and they want some of that sweet, inheritance funds. But then you've got the one guy that's like, I don't care about the money. I care about just family. I'm not in this anymore. But along the way, you know, some interesting thieves and professional criminals and a whole ass special units team come in to try and rob the parents and rob the family and rob them all blind. And it just so happens that this holiday season, Santa has lost his holiday cheer. He's finally realized that the world is just too fabricated. It's just greedy. Just too only cares about themselves. And Santa drinks in this movie, kids. He's an alcoholic. Yeah, and he vomits and pees, and he just does not give a flying reindeer's tuchus about the world anymore. But he still does his job. So it just so happens that Santa, on the one night of the year he works, and the one night of the year he is completely plastered on alcohol, milk, and cookies, is the one night that these robbers decide to rob the house. And, well, guess what the little girl asks for Christmas? She doesn't want anything. She just wants some season's beatings. And it is glorious. The cast does a pretty decent job. I don't remember much of the cast's actual names and stuff because I wasn't really like paying attention to that. But for what they did, what the characters were doing, and how they all performed fine and well. There were no issues. Everything was decent. The plot was relatively standard, I would say, for this type of action holiday type film. The turns and plots and twists, and the surprise reveals, you can pretty much guess a snowball's throw distance away. But honestly, it's an enjoyable ride for the fact that everyone is just really sassy and greedy and just kind of snickish with each other. Very like unjolly with each other for their own personal gain. Some less than others. How was the action? The action was good. The action and the season's beatings and the way people die in this film and get brutally maimed was fun. It was just good, creative. I wouldn't say almost Final Destination level of brutality fun, but it had some moments where it definitely took some inspiration from it. Music was good. There wasn't a whole lot of like real like musical moments in this film. There wasn't a whole lot of like orchestral music or like background music in this film, other than your kind of steadily movie score paced stuff, which is kind of what this movie needed. It didn't need a whole lot of that type of music. I would have liked a little more, but it wasn't bad. So, and finally, the movie's ending was actually pretty nice. It wrapped a nice little sentimental kind of like happy end and bow on the whole thing. So as far as like forced comedy in this film, because you guys, one thing I hate about films like this is if they force a joke, it's okay. The comedy in this film is tolerable at best. It's not the worst, but it's not bad. But if you go into this film knowing it is a brutal action kind of like little snarky take on the whole holiday cheer and the fact that you're basically going in seeing a alcoholic uh Santa Claus with a Norwegian kind of Viking background with a sledgehammer and beating the crap out of treachery with a sledgehammer, you're going to enjoy it, especially the sledgehammer. So, overall, it was a very violent night indeed. The music was decent, the comedy was and the cast was pretty good, but what really makes up for it is the action, the brutality, the violence, and just the sheer force behind it. And again, a decent little ending and a pretty decent plot. So, what would I rate it? I give it about a solid like maybe 7 out of 10. There's some parts that could have been better, some parts that could have been longer. I could have used more violence, and it just could have been overall a bit more like maybe a bit more suspenseful. And again, I called all the plot twists a snowball's distance away. So, but a 7 out of 10. I'd probably give about maybe if we give a star rating, maybe like a 3.5, close to maybe like a 3. And if I went with the double toasted slash split.com review system, I give this like a matinee. This was a fun little matinee. So that about does it for me, guys. With that in mind, more holiday cheer to come. So see you around.